we're gonna get going. So thank you guys for joining us today, all about continuing the momentum from the live workshop. I have to say, of the 10 years owning or starting Healthy Steps Nutrition, last or 2 weeks ago was by far the best 2 weeks since starting Healthy Steps Nutrition. It was so fun to connect with our staff in person. We had a Iron Chef competition, which if you are looking for a team engagement strategy, I'll let the staff chime in at the end, but it was amazing and a great thing that you could do with your own staff and kind of bring it into your own communities. The whole real premise of the live workshop was health starts inside of your gym. And everything that we kept talking about really came down to, hey, how are we able to make a bigger impact in our community? And it really is not just about fitness. It's not just about nutrition, but it's this holistic approach and really helping your clients get to their best thinking and what they're wanting, and you guys supporting them every step of the way. So we're going to dive in a few minutes to some of the biggest takeaways. I'd love for you guys to chime in as well. But before we do that, I have a couple announcements that I want to go over. A lot of you guys are CrossFit level 3, level 4 trainers, and you've asked about CEUs. Just a reminder, you get 30 CEUs for that initial training. If you went through the training a long time ago, or maybe you weren't a level 3 or level 4 at that time when you went through the initial training, you can go back through the entire training and get those 30 initial CEUs. And then there's also 9 hours every 6 months that you can get as well. Challenge intensive. You guys have access to that training is 7 hours. And then the kids course is 10 hours. So all the hours that you'll possibly need for your level 3 or level 4, you can get them through us. Other updates, the framework resource that was just released for HSN mentoring clients has been super helpful. Great feedback with that. Also, some of you guys have been asking about updating new lead funnels. Lindsay and I went over the best practices with the sales binder and talking about what are people seeing from the time they opt in to the time they come in to your gym. We updated some sales emails, and I would recommend that you go through, opt in to your free intro sequence and just see what testimonials are in there, what videos are in there, what emails people are seeing before they come into your building for that free intro. We want them to know that you offer nutrition, fitness, accountability. It might be time, if you did those a few years ago, it might be time to go back and just look at those and maybe update them with some new stories or new videos of you really talking about how you guys help people using this holistic approach, nutrition, fitness, and accountability. Last update, there have been updates to the training process. When you add a new coach to go through the training, one thing that we realized is new gyms coming on board, coaches are a little bit more confident than existing gyms adding new coaches. And one of the reasons why is that new gym owners, new coaches coming on board with HSN, if you're a brand new gym, the initial training includes coaching with us, actually with Barry and Jill, who are on this, and Liz and Kayla are bringing on two others as well. One of the things that we realized is existing gyms were kind of missing that opportunity for us to support new coaches coming on board. So moving forward, starting October 1st, every single new coach that you bring on board will actually get coached by us. It's about 70% getting coached as a client, and then 30% the application. So why are you doing what you're doing? And I think it's going to be really helpful. Number one, for them to role play with us. So it's going to take some pressure off of you. And number two, just for them to experience it from a client's perspective coming from us, so that they're going to be able to best support and feel really confident when they do graduate training. Nikki actually said, Nikki, you can kind of share the story that if you want, from you going through that process. And you're like, man, this is actually a lot's changed since going through the training 5 years ago.
Absolutely. Yeah. It was really, really beneficial to go through that and just see what that looks like now versus when I went through the program. It has changed a lot. It's a lot more client led. And of course, the linear path is something that we're utilizing a lot now. And I would highly recommend, if it's been a while since you went through it, that you do go through that yourself. And if you do have coaches on your staff that have not, that came on, before this was implemented, I would totally recommend them to do that. I'm actually going to recommend that my coaches do that as well. And they're on the call. So there's your recommendation, guys.
Amazing. Nice little plug there. Okay, cool. Well, before we dive into all the content for today, super excited to bring back and circle back into some of the conversations, some of the tips that were said throughout the weekend. I want to show you guys the recap video, number one, because it's awesome. And number two, I don't know that everyone has seen it. So we're going to take a 90 seconds to watch this video, and then we're going to get going.
Hey, minutes time to make history. All of your talking, making no sense to me. Been talking to God, ain't even at odds, I'm welcoming victory. Me and my dogs are walking in love, but still we made enemies. But it's time to make history, y'all. Yeah, it's time to make history.
The HSN Live Workshop has been absolutely fantastic.
Talk about a shotgun of a lot of information that you can take home with you to make your gym better.
I have met so many awesome gym owners, and the HSN team has just been absolutely amazing.
The best message here is that you're not alone.
We're all in the same boat. So when you have an opportunity to learn and to grow from other people, it's just going to give you that exponential growth that you need.
It's really going to up-level our business and really just push us to the next level.
Never said let it be that. I gotta go where I need to be at. Victory lapping, I need to relax. I'm bringing it back because minutes time to make history.
The work that you do matters a lot. And to do more of it and to impact more people, you want to do it in a way where you can inspire others to stay in the game. And I would believe that in an either-or world that's becoming more divided, you will break beyond that if you can really start to lead with and.
A lot of us are CrossFit gym owners. You know, we have goals, right? We have goals in the gym, like, oh, I want to hit a PR, right? But do we think about the goals that we want professionally? Maybe not as often.
Owners are typically respected and heard amongst their membership. So if you are speaking as confidently about your coaches to them, then your impression of them is going to trickle down.
At the end of the day, the problem is the story. So you're interviewing someone at your gym or wherever you're working. If you don't keep their problem that they are overcoming at the center of the story that they are telling, people will stop paying attention to the story they're telling.
All of your talking, making no sense to me. Been talking to God, ain't even at odds, I'm welcoming victory. Me and my dogs are walking in love, but still we made enemies. But it's time to make history, y'all. Yeah, it's time to make history.
I just want to go back. All right. So before we dive in, I also want to give a special shout out to the 2022 HSN Award winners. There were quite a few. Impact, ironically, got the Impact Award. All Fit Orlando, they got the Rising Star Award. Rob has done such an incredible job. I actually got an email. I think they've tripled their monthly reoccurring revenue since partnering with HSN, which is pretty freaking awesome. Super excited for them. The VFit, they got the Leading by Example Award. CrossFit Generation, they have an awesome nutrition team. They got the Dream Team Award. And lastly, but not least, Newton Elite, they got the HSN Award. They're honestly, every single one of you guys could have gotten an award, but these guys are really standing out with how they are prioritizing health and wellness and really truly making an impact in their community. So without further ado, let's dive in. I would love for you guys to use the chat. So type in the chat when you guys have comments or different things going on. I'd love to ask you guys a question. We sent out a survey, and one of the things I asked in there, if you did attend, hey, what was your favorite session of all of the different sessions, or your favorite thing about the workshop? I'd love for you guys to type in the chat, and then I'll share the responses that we got from the survey. Breakout sessions. Yeah, breakout sessions, breakout sessions, breakout sessions. Everyone said it. I love it. Yep. That was definitely one of the big pieces of feedback, is everyone loved the breakout sessions. They love being able to apply everything, and everyone loved the breakout sessions. So we definitely will be doing more of those this year, next year in 2023. The story panel discussion was also pretty popular in the partnership discussion. Those are two things I'm going to draw attention to today. And then we'll also let the people on the team chime in with the breakout sessions, just because we have both breakout session like leaders here. So story brand framework, there were some things that we talked about that I didn't show examples of. You guys have seen this before, but one of the things that we did on Thursday was Friday is talk about the story brand framework and how to use that in your marketing. And one of the things that Clark said in the panel discussion was like, hey, you have to keep the problem at the center. If we don't talk about the problems that people are having, what they're looking to accomplish, what barriers are getting in the way, then we are missing the boat. People are not going to understand how you can help them. So my question for you is, are you talking about the problems? Are you capturing people's information? And, you guys are doing it when you send out email content that we give you, but, when you're making videos or when you're talking about nutrition in class, are we talking about the problems that people have? They don't have enough time. They're feeling overwhelmed. They're unsure what's right for them. Are we talking about those problems? When you think about the story brand framework, we want to keep one client avatar throughout the entire marketing message. We don't want to talk to parents and then talk to kids and then talk to all these different types of different audiences. When you're creating marketing content, we want to keep one avatar throughout the thing. And then when we're looking to promote or talk about another program that we're offering, great, let's switch gears and talk about everything related to that program. One of the things that people have reached out to me about, and one of the things that was brought up during the panel discussion were 4 questions that you should be asking when capturing testimonial videos. Does anyone remember what those questions were? You can type them in the chat. Nikki is not allowed to answer because she actually reached out to Clark individually and asked him personally. So she's not allowed to answer that. Other than anyone else? All right, so I'll go ahead and give you guys those questions. I had my phone out. So the main thing here, the first question is, what were you wanting? So what do we mean by that? And the great thing is when you pick your clients that you're going to ask these questions to, you want to make sure that they're likely, the answers are going to be similar to your ideal clients, right? If you capture a story about a elite athlete and that's the only elite athlete in your gym, probably not the story that we want to capture. We want to capture the ideal client story. So what were you wanting? And it might look like, hey, I wanted to feel better about myself. I wanted to feel more confident, or I wanted to have more energy, or, I was just struggling to keep up with my kids. Maybe it's, I wanted to live longer. I wanted to be healthier. I wanted to lose weight. Whatever that client is wanting, we want to dive into that. The next thing that we want to talk about is the obstacles. Remember, Clark said, hey, if we're not talking about the problem, then people are not going to listen to this story. So let's talk about what were the things that were getting in the way, right? What that could look like is, maybe they weren't motivated, or they didn't know where to start, or they were intimidated. They were unsure of what to do when they went to the gym, or they're overwhelmed because there's so many different diets out there. Maybe they've tried a bunch of diets. When people tell me that, I'll usually whenever we go to gyms, I'll have like a little bit of small talk. And you should know this about your clients that you're working with. If they've tried a bunch of different diets, that's awesome. You want to bring attention to that when you're interviewing, like, hey, without naming them, what were some of the kinds of things that you tried before coming with our coaching program? And when they start saying like, oh, I tried super restrictive diets. I've tried, following macros. I tried logging everything. I tried this, I tried that. I was overwhelmed. It wasn't working for me. That's great. Because we know that statistics show us people try 7 to 8 diets before seeking a professional, right? So if your interview starts saying that they tried all these things, other people are going to be like, oh, yep. I tried that. And they're going to relate to that video. So we want to talk about the obstacles. Then we want to dive in. How did the person help? I think it's really important to do this in a twofold, like, hey, you want a human connection. So like, how did Nikki help, or Barry help, or Chelsea help? But then also, how did the business help? Because you don't just want the success to be tied around one person, but people do buy from people. So I think it's important to highlight the business and the owner of the coach. Does that make sense, guys? Cool. And then what does life look like now? Meaning, what are the successes? What are the wins, right? So do they feel more confident? Do they have more energy? How has it impacted other aspects of their life, right? We want to paint that transformational identity, because when people are watching that, they're gonna be like, oh man, I want that. I want that. I want that. Great. And then the end, you have like a slider or whatever the case may be. The ending is book a initial consultation or apply for coaching with your business name and your email address. So you want to make sure at the end is like, you can watch any of our videos and it all is pretty much the same. There's like a book a free intro or apply for coaching at the end of all of our videos. You want something similar with your branding on there, of course, as well. Does anyone have any questions about capturing the testimonial videos? Logistics of this, I would highly recommend that you get a mic. And you don't need to invest in a super fancy camera. Like, yes, I have a nice camera that shows the background or what we have right now, but you don't need to invest a lot of money into a camera. You can use your iPhone. People will forgive not perfect video, but if it's tough to listen, if it's tough to hear, if it's gargled, people are not going to listen to it. So care more about the audio than necessarily a beautiful picture that you're spending a lot of money on a camera. Your iPhone will be perfectly fine. When you're asking these questions, my recommendation is that you do not ask them all of the questions and expect them to respond to all of the answers. You're going to get a giant video, and we don't want these videos to be longer than like 90 seconds. So when you think about this, like, okay, what were you wanting? And actually, maybe Patty, I know you recently did this with us. So you got to experience actually quite a few of you guys on this call. Jill too, Nikki and Barry did it previously. Maybe you guys can chime in for a second. So what happens a lot of times is when you ask people questions, they will say something that's really long, like 3 minutes, and you need to bring that answer narrowed down. Like, hey, did you mean to say it this way? Like, or hey, what if you said it this way? Or let's concise this into one sentence. Because remember, if we're trying to get a video that's 90 seconds and they're talking about what they were wanting for 1 minute, it's going to be tough for us to get in the obstacles and how you help them and what life looks like now. So, a lot of times when you're doing these interviews, you are just like talking it out and then really getting them to figure out what is the concise piece of the puzzle. Do any of you guys want to chime in with this? How it felt from a client?
Yeah, I was genuinely, I was nervous about doing it. But I think the things that really helped were, one, I wasn't staring directly at the camera. The camera was kind of off to the side and I was speaking to somebody and we were just having a conversation, exactly like Nicole said. It's like, what did you want? Okay, see that bit that you just said? Can you just say that bit again? So just having somebody, when we're going to be doing it as the coaches to our clients, it's just reframe the questions, listen to what they say, stop them, make them say it again. If they said something that's you really want to highlight, get them to just say that bit specifically. So it was just really, it's not, as Nicole said, it's not just a ramble off through those 4 questions. It's stop, start, and it makes it so much easier when you're not worried about trying to get it all out in one go.
The cool thing I will say too is you guys know your clients, so you probably will be able to think of things that they would want to say that they might not initially say. So you could say like, hey, what about this? Would you mind talking about this for a second, and let them open up about X, Y, and Z. The other thing I will say is if you're asking, what were the obstacles? And they start the sentence with something that's not a complete sentence. I can't think of what that would look like right off of my head right now, but let me give you an example. Let me think about this. If I were saying like, oh, what were you wanting? And you just go on to say, a nutrition program, instead of saying I was wanting X. So you're cutting, when the videos are cut, you're cutting you asking the questions. So all of those sentences that they say need to be pieced together to make complete sentences. So write that down, because even if you think about it, And even if you say it before people start the interviews, they're going to forget. And if you forget, then when you try to piece it all together, whoever's piecing it together, it's going to sound a little funky. So start off with the complete sentences. Have them start off with the complete sentences. Any other comments from you guys who've been through it? Quite a few of you guys on this call have been through it from us, from a client's perspective.
Yeah, I'll just say that, you know, not looking at the camera was a huge deal for me, because I think just staring at the camera automatically makes people freeze up. But just having that conversation, and I think too, just having maybe like somebody and maybe like a friend there to kind of coach them through like what they're wanting to say, because too, you get on the spot and you freeze up. And so having multiple people there, hey, what if this is what you were saying, right? And then it just kind of helped me like, oh yeah, that's what I meant. And so that was helpful for me.
Awesome. Okay, I want to explain the camera thing because both of you guys brought it up. It's like pretty close, right? So if this is my camera, this is me, or what? Yeah. So you're really, I think it's like this. So like the camera's right in front and then I'm right next to it. So they're looking at me. But it's not like you're standing way off to the side. You're standing pretty close to the camera so that they can, so it doesn't look weird like you're looking way over there and the interviews and the camera angle is super weird. So you're standing pretty close to the camera. They're just looking at you as a human. Is that helpful for you guys? Yeah, cool. All right. Another thing that I brought up during the panel discussion, and I wanted to draw attention to it a little bit more, you know, especially if you guys are investing time into creating testimonial videos, one of the, not my pet peeves, but when I think the biggest, you know, missing things that you could be doing to really expand your reach is creating like a content engine for the content that you're creating, especially story videos. This is so powerful. So what do I mean? Well, if we're posting it on social media, I would collaborate with either yourself as the coach or the business owner or that person. Remember, on Instagram specifically, you can only collaborate with one person. If that person who's doing the testimonial video, if you say, hey, can I collaborate with you, so that all you have to do is accept and it'll go onto your profile. If they say yes, then that would be more effective than it just going on yours, or you do it on yours and the coaches. So you could put it on multiple places, but collaborate so that it reaches more places organically. Meaning if you collaborate with someone, it's going to go on that person's profile and wherever you posted it, more people that like, comment, engage is going to reach more people organically. So do the collaborator feature, share that video to your story. Uploading it to YouTube is super valuable because then you can take that YouTube link and do a lot of different things with it. Send it out to your entire email list. You can put it on SugarWOD or in the announcement section. You can actually add media to SugarWOD now too, which is pretty cool. Or you can even put it in an announcement if you're using Wodify or whatever platform you're using. Creating a blog would be really smart to do so that you can highlight what you're doing to help and how you help people, because then you can draw attention to it. For a lot of our emails, when we are sending emails out to new leads or people that haven't signed up yet, I'll say, hey, PS, meet Patty from Ireland. He runs a gym and has built an awesome nutrition team. So I can highlight those, and it's because it's easily, because it's already on a blog. So there you put that blog in Facebook groups, and then in email sequences, meaning from when someone opts in to come in for a free intro, before they come in, they're seeing success stories coming from you. Does that make sense? Take a screenshot of this so that you guys, or take a picture with your phone, whatever the case may be, so that you have this, because this will be really helpful for you to be able to expand your reach with one piece of content instead of redoing it every single time. So I want you guys to take a pause for a second and just think like, okay, if I was going to ask people, nutrition and fitness clients, hopefully, to do a story video for us, who would they be? If you're thinking about this, I would do people that smile, like, right? So like if someone's super nervous on camera and they're not smiling, it might be a little bit tougher for those people watching that video to understand like, hey, you have an awesome community. So someone that's smiley, maybe bubbly, someone that's done nutrition and fitness, or someone that's just really passionate about everything that you're doing. If you have a nutrition coach who was a client first, those people make really great success stories because you can talk about the client journey and now them taking the next step to help people moving forward. So if you have a nutrition coach, or you were a nutrition coach or a client and then you became a coach, that could be a good option for you. Have you guys thought about your people? Yeah, cool. The other thing that I want you to think about is how you will create a content wheel. So we were talking about, taking a video and then putting it a bunch of different places so that it can reach more people. So it's not just posted on one time on social media and then it gets buried by all of your other social media posts. So, the simplest way, hey, if you're posting on social, do a collaborator feature, post it on YouTube, put that YouTube link and make a blog about it. I can also pull up a blog so you guys can see what those blogs look like with some of you. Put it in the chat. Here's a blog from Alec and Southall that we did. And you guys could do the same type of thing, right? So pictures, and then there's stories, what clients are saying. And if you have multiple, okay, great. Or maybe you just do, if we had, just Joel's video. Okay, great. Let's just do Joel's picture. And you guys can just click the link in the chat to see what that blog looks like. Any questions about the storytelling stuff or anything that you took away from you listening to that story band panel or anything from today? Has anyone reached out to any of their clients yet to capture stories?
It's a part of my meeting in October with my staff. So we're going to be doing it by the end of the year.
Cool.
Yeah.
Awesome. Anything else coming up for you guys? No? All right. Let's move on to expanding your reach through partnerships, because this was the number one thing that people wanted to talk more about, hear more about, and take home and start doing. And this will directly impact the ability for you to expand your reach and have more people hearing about your business beyond just you. There are two things that we talked about during this that I think are important and a lot of people don't think about is, what will you bring to the table? And what do I mean by that? Well, I think it's important for you to think about, what is your reach? Not just your members, but what's your reach outside of that? How many people are going to your website per month? How many people watch your YouTube videos if you have YouTube videos, or your email list? How many people are on your email list? How many people are on your social media platforms, not just your business, but maybe even your personal pages from your coaches? You need to know what your reach is. And I can promise you're going to need this because people want to know, is this worth my time? And the bigger your reach is, which is one of the reasons why, hey, we want to build our email audience. We want to build the people that we own their contact. I'm not relying on Instagram and Facebook just to reach our following, right? One of the reasons why we want to get those people from social media to our email list. I'll give you guys a great example. Yesterday, I reached out to John Acuff to come to be on our podcast, and you have to fill out a form. And these were literally from that form. What is your reach? We talked about this a few weeks ago. Like, they want to know, hey, if you're going to do X, Y, and Z, how many people will it get to? So, this is something that you guys should be thinking about and really trying to build up so that more businesses want you guys to partner with, because you're super valuable. You have people that love you and follow you. You want to be able to share their awesome stuff with your audience, and you want to be able to do the same. So if I'm looking to partner with a business and I have two different options, and one is super active on social media and does collaborator features and, super active in the story, and they send out emails regularly, they have a newsletter, maybe they have a blog, and the other person has no online presence, which one would be more beneficial for me to partner with? So you should be thinking the same thing, like, hey, what am I going to bring to the table? But then also I'm going to reach out to companies that are going to help me get more exposure. Does that make sense to you guys? The next thing after you figure out what is your reach, you need to define what you are wanting. And I think sometimes when we think about partnerships, we think about, okay, what am I going to get out of it in regards to the financial? I remember starting Healthy Steps Nutrition, and one of the things I was thinking about right off the bat was like, okay, if I partnered with a food delivery, how much discount am I going to get for my clients? And what's the kickback that I'm going to get if I send someone to the meal delivery service down the street, right? And maybe it was like $10 a month or something like that. It was minimal because there's not very much money in food delivery, meal prep services. There's not a huge profit margin for them to give partners much, but that was the first thing that came to mind. In reality, that's not the best leverage for a partnership like that. If you think about it, let's say this meal prep delivery has, 500 people that are getting their meals every single week, and they put those meals in a bag. Could you not have a postcard in those meals with a QR code to join a community class or join a nutrition talk or book a discovery call? That's going to be more effective for you, because if you think about it, if you are getting $10 a month, how much is that going to add up for a year? What is it? $120 versus how much is a client worth to you? Thousands, right? So it makes more sense for you to be consistent, because people need to see things, 8 to 10 times before they take action. It would be more beneficial for you to be consistent with maybe getting a flyer, maybe doing a co-branded nutrition talk, maybe writing a blog, putting something in their newsletter. Other types of exposure are going to be more beneficial for your business so that more people are hearing about you. So the point of this story is, financial might be the first thing we think about, but whatever referral discount you're going to get for your members is not going to be anywhere close to the same value you're going to have as getting leads from a specific company. Does that make sense to you guys? So what could this look like? Collateral in a physical location. So let's say I was just talking actually to Dr. John Dibbs. He's a chiropractor that runs our nutrition program, but in the next couple months, they're building out a wellness facility that has physicians, it has physical therapists, it has a CrossFit gym, and it has his chiropractic facility all in one building, right? So all in one building are all of these different things, and they're going to walk into a common area and then go disperse to where they need to go. So what would be really smart for him is to have Collateral with a physical, like a QR code for people to book a discovery call. If you're trying to get in with a doctor's office, and quite a few of you have reached out to different primary care physicians after, or even pediatricians after the live workshop, having physical collateral with a QR code to book a discovery call or apply for coaching would be really smart. Also on that Collateral, you want to make sure that you have Google reviews, success stories. It's not just about the services. You need other people talking about how awesome your business is. So when you think about creating this type of collateral, put success stories on there. The other thing in regards to exposure is content, right? Can you send out tip emails or creating a video? Because remember, people you can start building a relationship with people so much faster if you're making video content. So maybe you make a video on, if it's a pediatrician's office, 3 tips for picky eaters. And if you want more tips, follow me or if you're looking for more support, I'd love to help you book a free discovery call with me here, right? So content and email where they send it out to their entire list is going to be a great strategy. Remember, when you're doing this stuff, you want to try to be set up a relationship where you're saying, hey, I'll give you something every single month, or maybe twice a month, or in your newsletter and a piece of email content, because people need to see things multiple times. And if you're already doing the video content and you're already putting it in YouTube, why could you not have someone else send it out for you so it reaches more people? Does that make sense to you guys? Cool. All right, lead generation. Where would you literally have people book intros with you? Well, doctor's offices are a really great strategy here. If you have, especially pediatricians, there's so many kids that are struggling with obesity and fatty livers and physical inactivity. And if doctors, pediatricians are recommending then the kid is getting in a healthier place physically through nutrition and exercise, and the parents are then left to go try to figure out where to do this, it's going to be a little bit tougher. But if you've trained the doctor and the staff on what your program does and how someone gets started, and they have a link where when they're checking out, they can say, hey, I saw Dr. Hernandez recommended that you go see the dietitian. We can go ahead and just book a free discovery call now. Do you want to go ahead and do that? And the front desk person can do it. You're going to get a lot more leads, because what happens is when a doctor says, and from experience, we have primary care physicians and pediatricians that refer people to us. We're much more effective at getting clients from pediatricians and pediatric gastroenterologists than adult doctors, I think, because parents will do anything for their kids. If you have kids, you probably can agree. So if you have a pediatrician that's saying, hey, you need to go do this, they leave that doctor's office, 100 other things are pulling them in different directions. Before you know it, they forget. But if there's a sign in the doctor's office while they're waiting for the pediatrician to come in, or as they're checking out, they can go ahead and book for you. That's going to be a really, really great strategy. Same thing with physical therapy offices. That's another way. But if in order to do that, guys, you're going to have to invest a little bit of time on the front end to train the staff. So don't think that a direct booking link is going to work if you haven't trained the staff on what you do and how you can help them. Does that make sense? Yeah, cool. Co-branded nutrition talk, that's an easy thing. And maybe you host a free class. That could be another option. I know Steve or Stu Brower talks a lot about that, hosting like different things at apartment complexes. We've never personally done that, but I know for a fact that co-branded nutrition talks and pediatricians, doctor's offices are a really great strategy for you to get new clients. The last thing I will say about this is leave the follow-up on you. If you are trying to partner with someone and you think that they're going to reach out to you, they're not going to reach out to you. Leave it on you, and you be the one to take initiative of that follow-up. If you don't do that, they're going to get busy. They're going to have a lot of things going on, and they're not going to follow up with you. So leave the follow-up on you and tell them like, hey, we want to move the next step. And the next step would be for me to come in and train the staff. Why don't I reach out to you next week and we can set a date for a lunch and learn where I can come in and I'll bring lunch and talk to the staff about what we do and how we can help them and what the process is for people to get started. Or maybe you are planning to host a nutrition talk with someone. Hey, here's what we would need from you. I'm going to go ahead and send a follow-up email, and then I'll follow up with you next week and we can set a date and get everything ready to go for that nutrition talk. Does that make sense? If you want someone to send an email out with a YouTube video, write the email out with the YouTube link and give it to them so they don't have to come up with anything. People are overworked, pulled in too many different directions. If you expect someone else to be promoting your business and having them do extra work to do that, it's not going to happen, guys. So leave the follow-up on you, make it super, super easy for them to do whatever you want them to do. All right. So what I want you guys to do is, and this will only take a minute, is determine your reach. You know, how many people do you have in your email list? How many members do you have? Social media, website views, YouTube. Like, start pulling this stuff so that you know, because at some point you're going to need it. And I also want you to think about 3 potential companies that you could reach out to. If you have taken the kids course, looking at pediatricians, you know, when you think about companies or different partnerships, start with the people that know you guys. Start with the people that run companies or that you personally know. People, it's so much easier to build partnerships with people you know than reaching out to random people. And I can tell you from personal experience, when I have some random person reach out to me, likely I might not be as interested to get started with them right away. But if I have a friend who says, hey, Nicole, this company is really awesome, and I think you guys could do something really cool together, we'll jump on a call very quickly, right? So if you are thinking about a company and you know Susie, your 6 a.m. class person, works at that company or knows the owner, her brother's the owner, let's have Susie introduce us so that it's not a cold reach out. You have a familiar introduction. Partnerships 101, do that. I promise you it works. Also, the other thing that we want to be thinking about is you need to find what you can provide for the company in regards to reach, exposure to your clientele, or how you can help them, and what you are looking for from the company. Does that make sense? So if we're in, for every single type of partnerships, it's going to be a little bit different, right? If we're going to a doctor's office, it would make sense for, especially a pediatrician's office, I'm going to give them things that I know would be helpful for them. Like, hey, we have a bunch of kid approved recipes like that are super easy and super good. Would you want to include a healthy recipe in your newsletter or in an email so you can get your kids thinking about eating healthy? If I'm partnering with a pediatrician's office, I might say, hey, let me come in and train your staff. Or maybe I do a nutrition talk for your staff so that they can get healthy and see how it works with our program and train them on what it looks like when their clients sign up with us. Any questions that you guys can think of, or feedback or comments on this stuff so far?
Nicole, I'm in a business campus and we have a plethora of companies just all around us. I mean, probably over 60 companies on the campus alone. Do you think going right to the landlord of the entire campus for a list of those companies, or do you think maybe like a campus-wide challenge to start, or something where, you know, you can get multiple companies coming together and doing it themselves, or do you advise going just with specific companies to start? Because literally, like, we have over 60 businesses here that we could tackle.
I think there's different strategies to do so. For us, we do not have a great relationship with our landlord. So if our landlord said anything to us, I don't think that we would do it. Like, it wouldn't go nowhere. But I know if I went and personally talked to the people at X, Y, and Z business, or if any of my members were a part of any of those businesses, and I can get introductions and build from there. I think sometimes we think like, hey, how's the biggest thing that we could launch this thing, instead of like, hey, let's get some proof of concept and let all the other businesses see what we're doing, and then go and try to get more and more. And doing a company or like a campus wide challenge could be really cool. But I would say getting a couple businesses on board first so that they can start talking, and you can use like, hey, Rotor, whatever company right next to us did X, Y, and Z, and here's what their CEO and their HR director said. You know, would you be interested in doing something similar?
Okay, that's good. Okay, well, got it. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, great question. It does bring up a valid point with partnerships. The higher you go with different types of companies, meaning like Rotor, I think is the name of the company that's right next to us. I don't know how I don't know that 7 years in. We've been next to them for a long time. You know, they have like a million different locations, right? So if I wanted to do something with that company, I would have to go through a lot of different people and different like layers to get to be able to do something with that company, versus the construction company where the CEO has been a personal training and nutrition client of ours for forever. They have a bunch of money and I know what they do. So like we can get in with them really fast. It's a little bit easier. So when you think about companies, try to think of like locally owned companies are going to be more effective and efficient than the ones with like a billion locations, where you're just going to have more people that have to say yes to this thing. And you want to make it as easy as possible. You know, one of the things that comes to mind when you think about partnerships is the thought of people saying no and like you being turned down. And I can tell you from personal experience, I don't really care if people tell me no. I'd rather them tell me no faster so I can move on and find some, like, do the next thing. And, you know, the more no's you have, the more yeses are eventually going to come. So don't be afraid for someone to say no. And I can tell you from experience, when someone says no, I always like reflect back on that conversation. Like, okay, what could I have done differently? Or did I position this that I can really help them solve a problem, or we're providing enough value? And if I didn't do that, then they're likely going to say no, because they're like, oh, you're just looking out for yourself. But if you go into it with, how can I help you? How can I help the people you serve? How can I help your employees? Why would they say no? I don't know. That's why you shouldn't be afraid of saying no, or people saying no to you. Any questions about that at all? Comments, thoughts?
I just quick thought, the partnerships is something that we put a lot of emphasis in, are on kind of during COVID and coming off the back of that. One company has never said no to us because we're keeping it just hyper local. Small companies, getting partnerships going with them is the easiest thing to do, but it's transformed our business to the stage where like 60% of our nutrition clients are actually non-members in the gym. And I had a call just before this, or I was speaking about it. It's down to just the nutrition talks and partnering, getting those partners with your nutrition talks. So if you're doing nutrition talks and not getting partnerships for them, you are genuinely missing out on an opportunity to double the impact that your nutrition talks can have.
For sure. And then it's the follow-up from those nutrition talks, right? So like someone opts into the nutrition talk, whether they join live or not, if you guys are doing nutrition talks and you aren't doing a shortened recording after the nutrition talk with like a consolidated, what you're going to say with a quick call to action of whatever you want them to do next, I would challenge you to do that and see the impact that you have of people booking free intros or discovery calls or signing up as clients. I know for me, when I'm listening to a recording of something and there's a lot of interaction in the chat, like what these people that are going to be listening to this recording today, they might like tune out a little bit faster versus if I got straight to the point, do these things. And then, hey, if you're looking for more help, we would love to help you. Here's the next step to get started. So when you do nutrition talks, definitely partner with people, make a shortened recording. I try to put a timer like 15 minutes. Like if you go beyond 15 minutes, people are probably not going to listen to the whole thing, and your call to action is typically at the end. So we need to get them to the end. If you're doing an hour-long nutrition talk, that's amazing to get people listening to you, engaging with you live, but the people that are listening to the recording are not going to listen to an hour.
Nicole, what are your thoughts about almost like a corporate partnership commercial for the gym, right? So I would make a commercial to send to these companies in the campus, right? Say, this is what this would be about. Do you think that's beneficial as well? To do like a minute to 90-second video commercial on what is involved?
Yeah, I think, talking about what is it you do, how you can help. More importantly, when you get the first one, have them talk about how it's helped. I feel like the success stories in a commercial are going to be more effective. If you guys, and I can put the link or send the link out in the recording on the Healthy Steps Nutrition page, there's a blog. It titled something along the lines of like Inside Delbrook JKS. And it was basically talking about, it had an interview from the CEO, from the HR director, and then from one of the clients. And we send that out like, hey, check out this company and this is how we've helped them. We got 2 other corporate deals from just that. Like, oh, I saw what you did at JKS and we want you to do the same thing with us. So
don't do almost like an advertisement, if you will, first. Wait till you get one, then have them do the Dumbrook one.
Yeah, I would recommend, like, that's going to be more effective. Going in and talking to people and having a conversation for the initial program is the best strategy, because you want to talk about, hey, what are the problems that you're having and the trends that we're seeing personally and the trends that I'm hearing at different companies. Jason and I went to a global leadership summit in July this year. And one of the things that they were talking about was like, hey, how companies are really focusing on not the work person, but the whole person. Meaning like, hey, I guess I care about productivity of my employees, but I also care about their well-being and mental health and physical health and all these other aspects. And that's great, because if we think about what does a 6-week wellness challenge do, it helps them bring all of those pieces together, focusing on exercise, nutrition, mental health, mindset, lifestyle. And what we found, especially this year with employee wellness in particular, is companies are saying like, hey, my employees are more divided than ever. They're not talking to each other. The company morale isn't the way it used to be. People are more stressed than they've ever been. Like, I want to bring our employees together. And the cool thing is with the HSN app and having that app, the group feature within the app, you can get different people engaging. And most importantly, you can get different levels in the corporate business, all being on one fair playing field. Like, they're all communicating with each other. They're all encouraging each other. It's not like, oh, CEO isn't talking to, the billing person or whatever the case may be. So, you know, it brings everyone together on a standard playing field. I would use that as my leverage in how you're talking to different companies.
Cool. Thank you.
Yeah. Oh, Patty found it. Thank you, Patty. Yeah. So check out that blog, click the link in the chat if you are looking at, hey, what could you say about employee wellness program? I know we have a few minutes left. I'd love for you guys just to chime in. If you did take a breakout session, or Patty, Nikki, Jill, Barry, if any of you guys want to talk about the breakout sessions for a couple of minutes. There were 2 that we hosted. Patty and Lindsay ran one on like the owner side is what we kind of called it, but there were nutrition coaches on there too, talking about increasing signups of nutrition clients. So from the free intro, from existing members, and then nutrition only clients, I think, for like the 3 things that you did, maybe.
Yeah, there were exactly. It was the new clients, the old clients, and your existing clients were kind of the 3 areas that we spoke about. And I think a lot of it was just highlighting the importance of one-to-one conversation. With like the difference between selling fitness and selling nutrition is that nutrition requires that one-to-one conversation. And that was, I think, the big takeaway for a lot of people, that there was quite a few not doing that. So that was a huge part of that. And then just in that breakout session, we had some really good role play. So we role played each of those conversations in more detail, and then get feedback on those as well. So they were very, very beneficial to get them done. Yeah, they were good.
Trey has a question, and Trey, I'm glad you asked this. Patty, any thoughts you have on former clients, trying to get former clients to be nutrition clients?
Getting former clients to be nutrition clients. Super. So somebody who was with you for nutrition in the past, and you're looking to re-engage them, or just former fitness or nutrition? Cool.
I think you talk about either. He's saying fitness.
Yeah, I think a lot of it, again, is that one-to-one conversation, taking out a list of your past clients or the people that may have dropped. And what we like to do is like set a goal of, you know what, this week I'm going to reach out to 10 past members. Sit down, take out the phone, and give them a call. Like, the best way is a one-to-one conversation. And with those conversations, I find it best to just come from a place of care. Hey, we haven't seen you in a while. How are you doing? Are you having any struggles? What are they? Would you like to come back in? Would you like to drop back in and just see how we might be able to help? For a lot of people, that could be that little kick that they might have needed. Somebody just to reach out. They could be on the fence about coming back, and they just needed a little nudge. So I think that's probably the number one tip of me, is pick up the phone.
If you're doing like nutrition talks, or we're doing a community workout this Saturday. So like, hey, I told Jason earlier this week, I was like, hey, go back through our past clients and call 5 clients a day and just say, hey, we miss seeing your face. We're hosting a free community workout. We'd love to see you. Like, just come back in and get a sweat in with us. We miss you, talk to them. So if you're hosting, like Trey, that would be an easy thing. Maybe you do in October. And so you are saying like, hey, those people, former fitness clients, and coming in for nutrition, same thing, picking up the phone, picking up the conversation. Maybe they moved to the other side of town. Hey, I know the gym is too far. How's your nutrition going? We know that's really the foundation of your success. Nikki, I know you wanted to chime in too.
I've just found it super helpful to be relatable and just admit that maybe you dropped the ball. So kind of starting it with, I've really been thinking about you, and I know you're not here doing fitness with us anymore. And I really feel like I just dropped the ball with you, because nutrition is really the foundation of what's really going to help you meet your goals. And I know you told me that you wanted to insert their why. How would you feel about coming in and just having a conversation with me and seeing if that's something that would help you?
Love that. I think that's one actionable tip. Every single person on this training and hopefully watching this recording has some past clients. And I think that's one thing that we all could do, is just reach out to those people. 5 people over the next week, and just start the conversation again, open that door. Anything else coming up for you guys? Patty, or Nikki, I know that you did that side too. Anything else coming up for you guys in regards to your breakout session?
I think that the biggest takeaway I had was definitely the role play, and it showed me and it showed all of them. I think that too many people are approaching those conversations from a place of making nutrition an option when it should not be an option. It should come from a place of, this is what we do. We do fitness and nutrition, and that's the best way to reach your goal. And so I think just by practicing better ways to show them the value in that, and leading with confidence, and instead of offering it unconfidently as an option, more so prescribing it. Look, you told me you want to lose 20 pounds by December. The only way I'm going to be able to help you to do that is if we do fitness and nutrition. What would prevent you from doing that? And then work on the barriers. Don't even make it an option.
Love it. All right, let's shift gears. Talking about the coach side. For those of you guys who joined the coach panel, I'd love to hear kind of some of the biggest takeaways that you guys had from joining that panel.
I thought it was really beneficial for the attendees to be in that client coach seat and ask those open-ended questions. I think those can get really uncomfortable, and being at the head of the table there and just hearing the different people do the different situations and providing that feedback, I thought was really beneficial for them. But it also allowed me to hear from both sides and be able to coach them on that, because that's everything that we're learning right now. So the self-management of intrinsic coaching and being a good listener and repeating back what they say so that you're understanding and you're not just hearing them, you're listening to what they're saying is very powerful. So I thought that was a really good takeaway from that those people really got to see.
Awesome. Anyone else have any thoughts? Oh, sorry, Jill, were you going to go?
No, sorry. No, I mean, just kind of like what Barry was saying, we did a lot of the role playing with the people at the tables. And it's just one of the things that, going through nursing school was always see one, do one, teach one. And so being able to apply that, and just even like everybody doing it, I think you could see the confidence kind of improve with everybody. So role play, is uncomfortable it is at times, it's so beneficial, and I thought it was awesome.
Absolutely. For those of you guys who are watching this and you haven't really checked out the workbook, inside of the workbook from the workshop, and that link is on the first page of this workbook today, there's a section that had the notice and practice stuff in there, those different scenarios that they use during the breakout sessions. I would recommend that you go in here and you look at them. They talked about, if you're the type of person that says, maybe do this, here's what you can do, here's what I do, which happens a lot when we're a new coach. Like, we know that it worked for us, we want it to work for our other clients. I don't think that that's the best strategy, because number one, people, might not, what works for you isn't going to work for every single other person, and they might not be excited about that. So, hey, asking them questions like, what's standing out for you? What would you be most excited to work on is going to be more impactful, because then you're going to figure out an action step that they're going to want to do. And at the end of the day, if they want to do it, they're going to be more consistent. They're going to see better results. So if you want clients to increase engagement and retention, we need to make sure that they're bought into the plan. So I would check out, it's on page 19, actually, of this workbook. The other thing I would recommend that you do, especially if you're doing any Zoom meetings, is to listen to one of the recordings of your Zoom meetings. I know the mentors on our team have done this. I've had our dietitians, I've had our nutrition coaches do it. It is amazing what you learn about yourself. And if you're asking yourself the 3 questions like, hey, is this providing value to my client? Is what I'm saying getting them to their best thinking, or am I just telling them what to do? And is this, whatever I'm saying, is this benefiting my curiosity, or is this benefiting the client? I had a mentor call yesterday. with someone, and he had mentioned to me in previous sessions that in previous mentor calls that he always goes over on his 30-minute follow-ups every single time. He's like, Nicole, I'm friends with everybody and I go over every single time. And I said, hey, I want you to think, when you're talking to those people, like, are we setting boundaries for ourselves where we're really providing value? Or are we talking about them selling their house and their realtor and all the vacations that they're going on and all these other things that are not necessarily providing value? And while I understand the cool thing about CrossFit and small boutique fitness facilities is that we have great relationships with our clients, when they're in our office in a session, we really need to be focused on providing them value, because that's what they see when they sit down with you in that office, that they're paying you for a service. So outside of that office, maybe you set a boundary for yourself. Outside of that office, talk about their kids and what's going on and how they're selling their house and all the other things that are happening. But inside, maybe it's 2 minutes just to get started, set yourself a boundary, and then you move into the actual things that you're supposed to be working on with the client to really help them become the best versions of themselves. Does that make sense to you guys? Cool. So I challenge you to listen to a recording if you can. All right. Other things I just want to bring up, thank you guys so much for joining today. And thank you guys for joining us in Nashville. We had so much fun. In fact, as soon as we got back, I booked the next one. So July 13th through 15th, it's actually going to be 2.5 days. So check in. Actually, the first 30 people that buy tickets are going to get a one-on-one mentoring session with someone on our team, which is really cool. In-person mentoring is like a game changer. It's so much fun. So we're going to do those on Thursday from 12 to 3, and then 3 o'clock is check-in till 5. After that, we're going to a really cool place that has duck pin bowling. If you've ever done duck pin bowling, I have not, but I've heard really amazing things about it. It's like miniature bowling. It's going to be really fun, and there'll be drinks and stuff for us there. Next year, there's going to be more breakout sessions, 2 full days, that welcome reception, more time for application, more time for breakout sessions. Ultimately, we know that, in order for you guys to have the true impact that you want, we want to get you together. Every single person said that they left inspired and they're so motivated to make a greater impact in their community. And we want you guys all to experience that. So I hope that we get to see you in Nashville, Tennessee this summer. It's going to be really fun. For those of you guys who are thinking, hey, I want to go and I want to book my ticket because I want a mentoring session in person, I agree. That's definitely a game changer. You can go ahead and get your tickets right this minute. Anything else coming up for you guys? Colby, it looks like you joined us a little bit late. I'm so sorry. It was at 1 p.m. Eastern. So as soon as this recording is processed, I'll make sure that we send it over to you. All right. Hopefully you guys took a lot of notes today. You did an activity, so you've got some actionable things that you are walking away with so that we can take action. At the end of the day, all the knowledge that we have doesn't mean that we're going to be able to drive results. We got to take action on all these things. Hope you guys have a really amazing day, and we'll see you back here next month for our next training webinar.
Thanks, Nicole.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Thanks, guys.